Now, if you haven't already asked or been asked this question, get ready because you will. Here's the question. What exactly is blockchain? I hear this all the time. Let me take you back a ways. So when Bitcoin was first introduced by a person or a group of people calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto, they needed to use a technology to satisfy trust between people who didn't know each other but wanted to exchange Bitcoin. And blockchain was essentially designed to create a network of trust. You can think of blockchain as a global public ledger that records and verifies transactions of any digital asset between parties. With blockchain technology, we essentially have a single version of the truth about transactions. It's constantly shared, it's constantly being updated, and it's out in the open. It has a full audit trail, and it contains an unalterable record of all the transactions that have ever occurred on that blockchain. You might be thinking, okay, that sounds interesting, but how exactly does blockchain work? Well, let me give you an example, a high-level example of how blockchain actually functions. When you use a blockchain to send and receive assets, things that have value and they need to be exchanged or shared securely, digital currency, contracts, title deeds, medical records, personal data, things like that. The validated details of those transactions are recorded across millions of copies of this global public ledger in millions of locations around the world simultaneously. Your blockchain transaction essentially triggers this global network of trust in order to validate the transaction through collaboration. These millions of computers are constantly working together to validate new transactions in individual blocks. When each transaction is verified by a majority of the members of this network of trust who maintain the global public ledger, a block is created. That block is time-stamped, sealed, and digitally connected to the preceding block, which is in turn connected to every other preceding block that has ever been validated, and it creates a secure extended chain of these digital blocks, and that is a blockchain. Now, one of the main reasons blockchain is getting so much attention and investment, I should add, is due to how secure the underlying technology is. So if you wanted to hack a blockchain, here's what you'd have to do. You'd have to hack a strongly encrypted individual block in the digital chain, plus the previous block, plus the entire history of transactions on that blockchain, not only on a single computer, but on millions of computers at the same time. And you would have to make all of this happen simultaneously without disturbing the date and timestamp history on all of those millions of blocks in this chain of millions of computers. Bottom line, it's highly secure. Today, blockchain is used for securing cryptocurrency transactions and exchange. However, blockchain can also be used for many other things. One notable example is the UN World Food Program. It uses blockchain technology to create virtual accounts for refugees and uploads monthly entitlements that can be spent in a camp's supermarket by using an authorization code. Now, according to the World Food Program, this has reduced the cost of using a financial service provider like a bank by 98%. And at least 6 other UN agencies are considering using blockchain applications that could support international assistance like supply chain management tools, self-auditing of payments, identity management, and data storage. On the business front, the second largest blockchain platform in the world is Ethereum. And this allows us to create what are called smart contracts that can be coded into a blockchain. Now, if we were using something like a traditional contract, we might have required lawyers, accountants, procurement agents, claims adjusters, project managers, banks, or manual approvals. Now, an Ethereum smart contract contains instructions about the contract's terms, conditions, milestones, connections to other parties like financial institutions or businesses who are involved in servicing the contract, as well as payment exchange details. So using blockchain technology, these instructions can be scripted to self-execute when and if the terms and conditions or variables in the contract are met. and the associated transactions occur instantly on both sides of the contract in the time and manner that's specified in the contract. Now, the most immediate opportunities in business, or you could say threats, depending on your perspective, are in the various aspects of the financial services industry. Now imagine being able to securely exchange payments, information, or smart contracts and policies with individuals or other businesses peer-to-peer. Since there's no need for an intermediary like a bank or an agency or a government, the underlying transaction costs may largely disappear. This is being tested today in intellectual property contracts in the entertainment industry. What about being able to generate something like a self-executing travel insurance policy? Instantly and securely with a customer's fully authenticated and validated information provided via the blockchain, you could execute that policy. And then you could automatically pay benefits or arrange for assistance in the event of a travel-related delay or mishap. This is actually being tried today in the UK travel insurance market. Now, what about things like title deeds, contracts, medical records, academic degrees, personal data, intellectual property? All of this could be validated, secured, and immutably recorded using a blockchain. Things as diverse as works of art, medicines, food supply management, supply chains, vehicle registrations, personal identification, like a passport, along with other physical items, where knowing what you're looking at is the genuine article is very important. All of these things could be validated and securely registered using blockchain technology. Since blockchain fundamentally changes the need for an intermediary to act as a trust broker, you can see why financial institutions and governments might be simultaneously thrilled at the possible applications of blockchain, but also terrified at the prospect of being made irrelevant to their customers and to their citizens. To put it all together, blockchain is one of those technologies that has the dubious distinction of being completely overhyped, but also underestimated at the same time. The consulting firm Bain & Company found that nearly 80% of 53 top finance industry executives said they believed that blockchain would be in widespread use and would have a significant impact on their businesses by the year 2020. However, because of pressure to show short-term results, many of these same executives said they're adopting a cautious wait-and-see approach to blockchain. They're favoring a fast follower posture compared to some companies that are right now seeking a first mover advantage with blockchain. Now, in another recent survey by Gartner, 77% of over 3,000 CIOs surveyed said they had no interest or action plan to investigate or develop blockchain for their organizations. Their challenge was not just finding and retaining enough qualified engineers, but finding enough to accommodate growth in resources as blockchain developments grow. It's a bit of a catch-22. Blockchain technology requires understanding of, at a very fundamental level, aspects of security, law, value exchange, decentralized governance, process, and commercial architecture. So it's quite complex. It will really change the nature and operational structure of business models and organizations. Companies that are not ready for this have to figure out how to accommodate these requirements. Now, for most of us, the big questions that we'll need to keep asking might sound something like this. Number one, what are the potential areas where leveraging something like blockchain technology, or blockchain in particular, could make things easier and faster for our customers, such as eliminating the need for those customers to give me the same personal and financial data over and over again, year after year? Or, secondly, where would the removal of intermediaries make transactions faster, more economical, and more reliable? Or, in what situations would the ability to have highly secure exchanges of value and assets and information, or the execution of contracts or policies without all the current levels of theft, fakes, and fraud, benefit my customers and me? And if we're armed with these sorts of business-related questions, we can then explore the potential promise that the use of blockchain technology does seem to hold.